All right, Isaiah, what is your topic?
Is U.S. foreign aid helpful or harmful?
And proceed.
Imagine you live in Africa, like in Kenya somewhere, and you have a company and you make mosquito nets for a living, which are very important. They stop the spread of malaria. It's important to have them. It prevents diseases. So say you own this company, you employ 15 people. Each of them has a family attendant they're providing for. You provide for 150 people with your company. Now some big U.S. foreign aid company comes in and they distribute 100,000 mosquito nets to the area. Now everybody has one. Your company goes out of business in a couple of years. All the mosquito nets they had ripped and tear, because that's what they do. They break eventually. They're not permanent. And so no one's there to make mosquito nets. And the 150 people you had, they don't have jobs, or they're not being provided for because no one has jobs. No one's making mosquito nets. So you're worse off than you were, even though you're temporarily better. That's pretty much what the foreign aid is like. In this speech, we're going to look at foreign aid, the problems that it brings, and some of the solutions. So, foreign assistance is aid given by the U.S. to other countries to support global peace, security, and development. That's from the government foreign aid website. And so, here's a map of what countries we give foreign aid to. The brighter they are, the more ones below. This is actually projected for 2016, but it's pretty much the same as last year. We give 100 plus nations foreign aid. It's 0.7% of our budget, so we're not spending that much money on it. It's not going to bankrupt us. We could probably give more if we wanted. In some of these countries, it makes sense, like here, Kenya, Somalia, Ethiopia, they need a lot of money. But China, why are we giving them foreign aid? Portugal, we're giving them military foreign aid. They don't need money from us, but we're giving it to them anyway. Whereas countries in here, along this coast, aren't even getting some from us, and they actually need it. So here's some, the countries that are bigger based on how much aid we give them. So Israel, we give the most, obviously. 75% of our foreign aid goes to these two countries. And countries like here, Ethiopia, which is one of the poorest countries, is barely getting anything. And our foreign aid is 90% of their budget. And so we don't really spend that much. It's not going to make us. For every taxpayer, we spend $80 on aid. And when each person normally spends 100 on candy. So we're spending more on candy than we are on aid. In the last 60 years, we've given $1 trillion in foreign aid. And foreign aid isn't just free. We're just here's some money, help your citizens. It's just yours. No, there's debt to pay back. African countries still pay close to $20 billion in debt payments per annum. A stark reminder that aid is not free, according to the 2009 Wall Street Journal. So it's not free. So if a country gets foreign aid and their debt comes back up, America's okay, well here's some more money to help pay that off. But that just comes with more debt. So you get more debt and more debt. It's a bad cycle to get into. It's also very corrupt. Corruption was costing $150 billion a year, according to that same Wall Street Journal article. Because the people who get the aid, the leaders, are oh, here's some money, I'm just going to take a little bit, and people can have the rest. And then it goes down to bureaucracy, and each one takes a little bit, and by the time it gets to the bottom, there's not as much money to go around. And because of that, it can also cause people to rebel against their country, because they're starting a new regime. So Boko Haram, if they took over the country, the West African countries they're in, they would get that foreign aid. So it's an incentive for them to have their own bad regime in power, in office. And it pays for bad governments too, because we're giving them to the people, but the governments actually get the money. And countries also become dependent. Ethiopia, I mentioned, 90% of their budget is our foreign aid. So if we were able to, for some reason, we couldn't get money anymore, we had to pull out, they'd just collapse, because all their budget is based on our money. And so there's many different solutions that people have thought, we should just stop foreign aid. Well, that's not really that great of an idea, because these countries, we're in a position to give foreign aid, and they need it. We should give it. I don't think giving foreign aid is bad at all. I just think the way we're doing it is bad. Not many people, people aren't, it's not developing in the countries. It's a short-term problem or a short-term solution to a long-term problem. It's like putting a Band-Aid on it when you broke a bone. It doesn't really do anything. It just makes it look nice temporarily. So we could just stop and pull out that Ethiopia, it would not be good for them. They'd just collapse. We could gradualism, gradually stop. And that'd be better, and it would be better for some countries, but still in the end, we're not giving them aid. We should be giving them aid. They need it. They have starving people and malaria and stuff. And the last one is investing in the country. According to a 2015 Forbes article, China is doing this a lot. They come into the government hey, we'll build a road from your two cities if you let us have a farm. And then they have big farms. Here's a big Chinese farm. There's the small farms. It takes land from the small farmers, but then they employ them all here, pay them better, and it's better hours, and they employ a lot more people, and they're making more food, so it's a win-win for everybody, basically. Some people say the small farmers like lose their land and stuff, but they get a ton of the jobs and stuff, and it's good for the country, good for the developing countries. So foreign aid, we spend a lot of money on it, but not as much to us, but it's a lot to those other countries. There's a lot of problems: corruption, debt, civil wars, dependency. And the solution may be to invest, like the Chinese are doing. It's helping them a lot, and people in Africa like it. And yeah, we should invest in foreign aid.
$5.21.